Yeah, and then it's about impact. It's not about money anymore. So that's one of the things that Lars would tell me. He's like, bro, this isn't about money anymore. Like, this is about impact, and it's about time. I was thinking about all the different evolutions. So like, it started off where it's like, I just want to do 100 deals, like the way I saw myself, right? Then I would read, I was obsessed with freedom, and I read like Jacob Lutzker's like Early Retirement Extreme, where he would live off like fucking lentils and tuna fish, right? So he only had to pay like, you know, his expenses were like $12,000 a year. So if he had a job where he made like 100, you can invest all the difference, and then you can quit working early. And then the Dave Ramsey stage, like pay all your shit off and, you know, fully fund retirement accounts. And I did that diligently. Again, I just saw myself as just like the Heisman Trophy winner of listing property. That's the way I saw myself. So I wouldn't deviate from anything outside of that. I realized that I had a meaningful net worth of a couple $1 million, but I didn't feel wealthy, and I still had to sell real estate to pay bills because I didn't have a lot of residual income. And I heard Grant say having all your money tied up in your house and in a retirement plan is another form of poverty. And I was like, that's fucking crazy, because that's true. And then I started to make changes. It began with changes in moving, even though that sounds strange. So the reason why I can give people so much shit about like them taking so long to make decisions is because my tendency in the past was to be exceptionally like conservative, really, really motivated by certainty. Like I did the reason why I'm giving you shit about buying something in the same place, I did that. I bought a 2-bedroom, which I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, because my wife said we wanted to have 2 kids. That's not true. I was scared, so I went smaller. We lived in that for 7 years. I paid it off. And we stayed there with 2 children, one sleeping in the living room and one in their room, for a whole year after Liliana was born. Then I went out and bought a 3-bedroom, but guess what? In the same neighborhood. And we paid that off or whatever. But then I started to realize, like, bro, this isn't, and I would be on these mastermind calls, and there's people that are in their 50s and 60s, and they're still talking about fucking contacts and shit. I'm like, bro, something's wrong. And then I started to change. The first change came with we moved, which you would think, and it was interesting because Carla was like, I got like a little like, I don't know how I feel about this, you know? She's like, babe, we're not I never want to be attached to a house. It's just a space. It's not, you know what I mean? And I think it's good because it's different. It's different. Different energy, different vibes, like it's movement. Instead of being like I'm gonna stay here and like protect, right? So we did that, and that was the first one. And then I did something that was interesting in alignment with what I thought to be true, is I took the money that I would have used to buy that house and I invested it. And most people would think that that's crazy. Remember, I know I sound crazy to a lazy mind, right? So a syndication with Grant. And that paid like, I don't know, $1,100 a month. So instead of buying something and having a payment, now the rent from that place and the rent from the syndication pays for where I live. But that's like a hard shift away from what everybody else does. And then came the company thing, where you kept telling me, and I was like, nah, bro, I'm good. And I really thought I was right. Like hard, we would triangulate ideas, right? And I was right about, truth is on a spectrum. I was right, but there was something else that was more true, right? But then once I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, got that. That makes sense to me. Started aggressively moving in that direction, but then started to flirt with the idea. Like, I haven't gone on a listing appointment in 6 months. 5 years ago, that was like a year ago, 2 years ago, that was completely unthinkable. Like not even.
What does that feel like?
I was talking to Carl about this. It's like every new peak is like new air. So if you go up in altitude, the oxygen concentration is less. So it takes time to get acclimated to it. It takes time to get used to it. But for the first 2 months, I was not. It was weird. It was weird, yeah. I was uncomfortable. I'm like,
Restless?
A little restless, yeah, like, And Lars just kept telling me 2 things. Lars kept telling me, he's like, bro, I've seen your financials. You're gonna die with a lot of money. Like, you don't need to worry about it. The second is Carla did a profit first statement where every week I can see cash in and cash out. Because even though you have resources doesn't mean you don't have anxiety around money. So I would see the cash in, cash out. I'm like, as long as it's green, we're fucking fine. It could be $200 green, like we're fine. You know what I'm saying? So that was also helpful. But Carla's gone through it too, where it's like, you know, she's like, oh, well, you know, I feel like my sister's, because, you know, she's on the team, she's working, but like I'm going to yoga class. I'm like, it's because you're the boss. Like she worked to be able to do that. Yeah, she worked to be able to do that. And so, but that was like incomprehensible to me, even a year ago, 12 months ago, 15 months ago. Like it wasn't even something that I would even think about. And now, and then with the short-term rental thing. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell the place that I had rented, and I'm going to go and I'm going to buy 2 short-term rentals this year. In our previous conversations, when I was so sold on syndications, what would I say to you?
That syndications was the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Management, the missing pieces,
Taxes.
and having the right person.
Partner. So I wouldn't do it without an operational partner, right? Otherwise I really wouldn't. I'd just keep doing syndication. But we have the operational partner now, so check this out. I rent where I live, and I just bought a short-term rental. I sound crazy to a lazy mind. Most people would be like, what are you doing, bro? Yeah, and what I'm doing is I'm like with, whether it's syndications or the short-term rentals plus rev share, now it's like.
Which one do you like better, this one or the last one we stayed in?
Oh, that's a good question.
Which one do you see yourself more living in?
Oh, living in? I don't know.
For you to live in?
They're both pretty similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have a pickleball court instead of a basketball court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 acres or 1 acre?
1 acre. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm starting to like see that, you know? But that's a long way from my dad's a furniture repairman, and when we used to walk into houses like these, I'd watch him get small. You ever seen somebody do that? Where they like in a way genuflect, right? So that would make me be like, oh shit, like this is like outside of us, right? But the way I'm starting to see myself now is like, all right, I give talks. I do events like these. Like I fly and meet with partners, right? That's what my role has become. But it's completely different. If you look at my calendar from what I was doing 12 months ago to what I'm doing today, it's completely different. Before it was filled with listing appointments and prospecting and negotiating. Now it's filled with third-party calls, coaching calls, and speaking events. But that's an evolution, right? But if I wasn't doing that, I wouldn't be able to serve you guys. I wouldn't be able to keep expanding because my thinking would be stuck. Does that make sense? But it baffles, like it's unbelievable to me how much has happened because I've changed my mind. That's it. Just changing my mind along the way. I was like, Dave Ramsey's the way, and I wasn't wrong. Remember, truth is on a spectrum. I wasn't completely wrong, but there was something else that was more true. When I say syndication is the way, I'm not completely wrong. It just depends on circumstances. Like, this can be true, but something can be more true. And if I'm clear enough on the why, like Chris and like Ben, and it's important to me enough, I won't take the lazy route of just thinking I have to work harder. I'll do my best to figure it out because everybody has the capacity to figure it out. And plus you have people that are in the process of figuring out. Because I don't think I figured it out like completely, but we're in the process of it for sure. Does that make sense? So what is margin? Margin in life refers to the space between our commitments, responsibilities, and activities, and the limits of our physical, mental, and emotional capacity.